Hello and welcome to the Old Timer's Tales. Here in this series, the old timer Jayanta Kumarnath would introduce you to amazing tales from all across the globe, belonging to diverse genres. All these stories are a part of an anthology, the book titled Contemporary Global Fiction. These stories has been wonderfully compiled and edited by Dr. Susminder Jeet Kaur. The book has been published by Penprints India Limited, Kolkata. Every episode we hear would have two short stories. Before we start the story, we would share a brief introduction of the author. Today, the first we would listen to is You're Heard by Cosmos, written by Dr. Sudha Dixit. Well, if you love these kinds of stories, please press the like button on the screen and subscribe to the channel for more of these tales. So let's start.
In UP, graduated from AMU, did Masters English Literature from Lucknow University and studied law at BHU. Presently settled in Bangalore. Career-wise, and had 15 years stint in real estate. Now she is doing what she always wanted to do, painting landscapes and portraits of, and writing poetry, articles on the net, and various magazines, including print media. Cosmopolitan by style, global by attitude, and gregarious by nature. She loves all forms of fine arts, music, dance, painting, craft, reading and writing. Believes in simple living while enjoying partying with friends and living life to the full with jest, knowing that one lives only once. Her first published book of English poems was The Lone Wanderer, a second Sparks Under the Ashes, third one A Life Less Lived. This is her sixth book, fourth of the English poems. Besides this, she has published in Devanagari one book of ghazals, Dasti Tanhai, and a second book of Hindi poems, Pehli Vasha Ki Puhar. One more book of satire has also been published, Kuch Teed, Kuch Tukke, a Hindi poetry book. Pehli Vasha Ki Puhar has won PEQ Literary Awards 2022 in the category of Hindi poetry. On March 21, 2021, she was bestowed Women's Excellence and Leadership Summit Award. She has her poems published in around 70 international anthologies. She has so far collected more than 500 certificates, conferring Award of Excellence and featured artists. You are heard by Cosmos, Sudha Dixit. He was a chief guest at a poetry session organized by some literary forum. He applauded her rendition. He was all admiration for her diction, vocabulary, and pronunciation, etc. During the tea break, he gave her his card and politely asked her to contact him. She almost threw the visiting card in the dustbin when a friend said that he was the dramatist and active in all cultural fields. She kept the card safely in her purse. She herself was very much into theatre and other cultural and literary activities, thinking that an association with such a personality might provide her an opportunity to participate in some events. She called him a few days later. He was too enthusiastic to accommodate her. He introduced her to his online group, praising her poetry profusely. No human being can be immune to praise that sounds genuine. The praise was genuine, for he was an artist and recognized real talent, but the attraction was more than platonic. He was a Casanova, a charmer. He was ethical and spiritual, but very lonely. He was an artist, suave and alluring. He knew how to make inroad in woman's art. He tried his magic on her. It worked. He did not say anything initially. Whenever they met socially, he cast an admiring glance at her, making sure that she knew he was looking at her. If their eyes met, he would smile and compliment her, not for her beauty, but for her poetic talent that he noticed at the Mushera. A poetic meet. Water always finds its level. The hollow in a lonesome heart often gets filled by water, which may not be sweet. She was honest, loyal, and devoted. He was an expat player. He lured her to meet him. In the beginning, it used to be session to discuss various books or poetry recitation or dramatic themes. Slowly, he started showing interest in her physical beauty. He used all his cliches. "You're a rare combination of beauty and brain. I can't resist you," etc. How could she not succumb to such sweet nothings? Even earlier, she had been receiving many compliments for her looks and rare reviews for her intellect regularly. She accepted the clods politely but never let them go to her head. She always recognized the ulterior motive behind the honey-coated words, but there was an intellectual, an artist, a good-looking man like Adonis. She thought her quest for true love was over. He was married, so was she. So what? Love knows no boundaries, especially when her marriage was not a happy one. For once in life she tasted happiness. She was ecstatic. The love, so-called, bloomed. Surprisingly, he was more cautious of being seen together than her. She noticed it and questioned him. He said that he was a public figure and didn't want any scandal. Made sense. Even she had a flawless reputation. They would meet at functions, exchange amorous glances, and feel euphoric. A late-night chat on phone became a daily affair. As it is, she was a night owl, always burning midnight oil, either reading or writing. Those romantic chats filled her empty life with a sweet pastime and much needed love. Nothing lasts forever, especially good time. A realization dawned on her. She felt that the season of spring and love had transformed into autumn. No more verdant leaves or shady trees, no clouds, no breeze. The ground was turning into desert. What she had felt or imagined was only a mirage, an optical illusion. The game was over. He had cooled off. No more midnight texting, no more effort for a tryst. She was desperate. It is easy to fall in love, especially when one is vulnerable, but it is very difficult to rise out of unrequited love. Love is akin to addiction. One knows one has to let go, just like an alcoholic or a chain smoker knows that he is courting death, but still, people do try. They experiment with their addiction and make efforts to abstain, yet the withdrawal syndrome affects them. She also felt that withdrawal syndrome hurt. He started pointing to her age, but he knew her age before the whole affair started. And what age had to do with love? Or had the love disappeared? At least she should know the reason. A big why. She kept texting. She needed a single phone call. He kept mum. Earlier, he used to insist that he loved her. He had enjoyed the privilege initially. Now he was feeling the pressure. For him, the continuous messages were disturbing. Finally, he replied, "You are ruining my family life. Please stop following me." Stop following me? The words were not only harsh, they conveyed an insulting connotation. Maybe being polished and sophisticated, he didn't mean it, possibly. He was not well versed in English and used a faulty language. Yet it contained the irritable message, "Get off my back." In Hindi it means "Mera picha chhod do." She valued her dignity and retorted, "I'm not following you and never will." "Oh God!" he exclaimed. He had not expected the rebuff with such finality. They had common social circle. They were constantly in touch sans romance. Life was back to normal. After a few months, he announced that he required a female for a role in his upcoming play. In a purely professional manner, she also applied. He responded and called her. Though he was in awe of her, she had an aura of uncanny power in her. He wanted to avenge the snub he got at the time of face-off. He knew she had developed a problem in her leg and walked with support. He also knew that earlier she was a sprinter and a classical dancer. She was now restricted to being a writer and a painter. He was a very polished and sophisticated person. Still, he couldn't resist striking a cruel blow to her ego. Very politely he said, "Only role I have available is that of a dancer. Can you fit the bill?" The insinuation hurt her tremendously. One should not strike below the belt. One must not hurt the innocent. There is someone up above, a guardian angel, who looks after the defenseless. She, she said something wordlessly and disconnected the line. He smiled callously, put the phone down, finished his remaining work, and got ready to go down the stairs. His office was on the fourth floor of a building. There was no lift. Suddenly, as he was gloating over the clever way as to how he gave back to the lady he once vowed, he lost his balance. He came tumbling down all the 4 floors to the ground. He heard an indistinct sound of a crack, followed by severe pain in the tibia bone. He also heard a beep in his phone before he fainted. When he gained consciousness, he was alone in a hospital room. He picked his mobile. There was a message from her. "You know I could dance. You shouldn't have said that." It was airy. He felt uneasy and went to sleep again. When he woke up, he was told that he could not, for a long time, act in his own musical drama. He had to announce the vacancy for a male artist.
Well, you like this story. Okay, then let's move to our next story, You, written by Professor Sachidananda Panda. Once more, let me remind you, if you love these kinds of stories, please press the like button on the screen and subscribe to the channel for more of these tales.
Panda is currently working as an associate professor at XIM University, Bhubaneswar, Odisha, India. He has over 20 years of experience in teaching and training at the graduate and postgraduate levels, an avid learner, poet, and philosopher. He published many articles in national and international journals in literature and other areas of the humanities. His poems aim to reveal life's counters with motivational and realistic undertones. He published books on 8 different titles in the domains of literature communication and business communication. An Unseen Symphony is a recent publication released in the month of May 2023. You, Sachidananda Panda. Sometimes the most diminutive encounter can reach the deepest parts of the soul. I looked through the windows at the rapidly changing face of the land that stretched before my eyes as I passed by. I certainly can't say since when, but this has been for a couple of hours or more. The lower berth was occupied by 4 more passengers, and being seated close to the window, It was not a problem for me to avoid direct eye contact with fellow travelers. The faces around me changed at regular intervals at every stoppage and stations, except the girl in her early 20s on the other side. Hello, are you going to Delhi or somewhere else on the way? I'm getting bored. I need someone to share these hours of travel with. If you don't mind, may I know your name, please? She asked to break the silence and start the conversation. I turned my head towards her as if I had waited for this invitation. A quick smile flashed on her lips, and a pair of dimples adorned her cheeks. It was stuck in, as if under a spell, and almost clueless to answer her simple questions. Probably I was lost in her brown eyes, dense and dark curly hair, and that freely fell over her shoulders, her blue ethnic wear, and a simple gold necklace that was in sync with each other. From all of her appearances, I had no doubt in my mind that she must be from a good family. She was quite friendly and jolly in her approach. Unlike me, I had never been very open with anyone, not even with my friends, during my school days. Let's say I stayed a loner, a little nomadic, and an unseen nobody in everything or at every event I came across. In the past couple of years, I preferred my confinement in my own thoughts, as if feeding different tributaries with while standing at the river banks of recollections of the past. I boarded the train to Navi, hoping to find something that would make me feel alive. While I was lost in the thought, the girl interrupted. Hi, I'm Anu, she said, extending her hand. I'm going to New Delhi to attend a job interview. What about you? She asked. I think I felt a little unsettled and confused by her question and tried to waver around. Probably I dwindled between telling a lie or speaking the truth. It was when I realized there was no harm if I chose the latter. People call me as per their convenience. So too can you. You can call me by the name that suits you, I responded. Last time, I remember I had someone call me by the name Akash, and that's all I know about myself. I'm just going wherever the train takes me. I don't know where, I said while shaking her head. She looked surprised, but was not judgmental. She tilted her head and asked, What? Why so? I shrugged and said, Maybe I have no other things to do. I don't have a family, a career, or a passion. Don't be surprised if I say I'm just existing. That's it. And this is the best I can sum up to answer your query, I responded. I could notice as she frowned at such an answer and said, That's sad. Don't you want to change that? Don't you want to find something that makes you happy? I shied and said, I don't know what makes me happy. I've tried many things, but nothing has ever satisfied me. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is. I couldn't get what you actually meant, she asked to further investigate the reason behind those philosophical answers I gave her. Often we land in a situation where we start to question our existence. We search for answers behind the elevated dreams, not knowing well that certain turns of events can snatch away the most precious things from our lives, and we are often left as loners to tread ahead this simply to consume the time left. And don't you know, a man's destination is not his destiny? I asked. She nodded in affirmation and said, Yes, that's true. I also felt the same way a few years ago, but that's where I discovered my love for photography. And that changed the direction of my life. That discovery gave me a reason to wake up, a call to explore new avenues. Capturing nature in my still frames brought me some freshness. I've no hesitation to admit that I feel happy in my profession. She continued to talk, to which I was a lame listener. Adversities do come with opportunities as eye openers to delve deep and identify the core competences in oneself. Who knows how and to where it will lead you? Probably you never thought in that way, she inquired. Then she reached into her backpack, pulled out her camera, and showed me some photos from her earlier trips. They were really fabulous. Those snaps stood a silent testimony to a talent in finding the right angle, the right light, and above all, the right moment. She had pictures of mountains, rivers, forests, cities, people, animals, and more, almost everything else. These are amazing, I said to express my honest appreciation. Thank you, she said, beaming. I'm glad you like them. Do you want to see more? Sure, I said, being curious. She handed over the camera to me and said, look, just scroll through them and see as many as you please. There are hundreds. Took the camera and started scrolling one after the other, and a couple of more into her collected snaps. They were all beautiful and captivating, but there was one that caught my attention more than the others. It was a picture of a sunset over a lake. The crimson sky looked as if painted with a care, a unique mixture of orange and pale purple hues shimmering on the calm water. In the foreground there was a silhouette of person standing in the dark, holding a fishing rod. Who is this? I asked, pointing at the picture. She looked at it, and after a little pause that was unusual, she replied, that's my father. He passed away last year. I'm so sorry. I said, it's okay, she said. He lived a life that was replete with fun, fishing, and adventure. He loved fishing more than anything else in the world. I remember he taught me how to fish when I was a little kid. He used to take me to this lake every summer, and those days shall be remembered forever. She smiled sadly and said, these pictures I took when we last visited the lake, and it was the last picture I took of him before the death. I still remember the day when I received the news of his sad demise. It was a shock to me, which can't be expressed in words. I never expected that he would live so early. When I was out of town on an excursion, I felt a jolt of emotion in my chest hearing the news of his demise. I can't say why, but I must say this picture moved me in a way that none others did. The picture reminds me of his presence, and I always feel his existence by my side and always with me. This appears to be a neat and really professional snap, I said. Thank you, she replied. She took the camera back from me, probably to change the topic, and said, do you want to know something funny? What? I asked. This picture is the reason that why I'm going to Netherlands. How so? I asked. She explained, well, after my father's death, I entered the picture in a photography contest online. It was just for fun. I never expected anything from it, and it was absolutely out of my mind. But then last week I got an email that read that I won the contest and the scene was selected to be displayed in an art gallery in New Delhi. Wow, I reacted. Yes, she replied enthusiastically. And not only that, she continued, but they also offered me a job as a photographer for their magazine. That's amazing, I said. I know, she repeated. So that's why I'm going to New Delhi, she concluded. To see my picture in the gallery, and most likely I may accept the job offer if things go well with them. While she was narrating the entire story, I could feel the flash of excitement and hope in her eyes. She looked at me and said, "My father always wanted and encouraged me to become a world-class journalist. He knew intuitively and recognized my skill in this field. And now, I can't believe it," she said. "This is the first step in that direction, and I feel my dream has come true. His wishes too." She paused for a while and then asked, "What about you? What is your dream, your interest?" I looked at her and then at the picture of her father. And then it struck my mind that at least for a few moments I had the patience to listen to her story. Meanwhile, I felt I had developed some interest in her and her ability to changing her dream, unlike me, who never enjoys the simple things in life. The turn of events often assume the crippling and grinding leaves the strings attached to be remembered in the steel frames of our minds. It requires bones of steel to pursue the chase, distances, and solace if shot at places, and it might lead to disillusionment. Answers remain always within, near and around. I was lost in my thoughts when she repeated the question. "Hey, what thinking? I asked you something, didn't you hear that?" "Yes, I do. I was immersed in thoughts of you, and I feel your story inspired me to find the lost threads and learn to live life the way you did. I realized what my dream was and how should I move. I was literally disillusioned with the volley of questions life did put before me. The hurdles on my way left me hopeless that life would ever bring in any respite and solace to the ordeal I'm in. I looked for a wise counsel, a company, and a friend who would stand by my side, and now I think I have discovered that being with you. Would you allow me to have you as a friend for the rest of my life?" I said without mincing a word. The shyness evaporated, and I felt a surge of courage. And as if my tongue had wings to fly, I looked at her and said, "It's you that made the difference. I certainly can't look beyond. You introduced me to me, and now I find myself in you. I must say, am interested in you." That three-letter word from me had some electrifying effect on her. She remained locked in my eyes, and with each passing moment, we discovered that our destiny was probably intertwined. This chance encounter created compassion and openness between hearts, revealing life's uncertainties with courage and grace. Like two perfect pieces of puzzles, we decided to continue the journey with unspoken promises, sans words, in the pale embers of the sultry summer, the rhythmic clangs of the trotting machine. I believe fate orchestrated this encounter. No one was privy to the fact that it would forever change the course. With the exchange of the first few words, mutual appreciation started to peep in, and an unexpected wave of oneness, as if was embedded with honesty, prevailed as we shared unwritten axioms during the prolonged conversations from dawn to dusk. I learned to appreciate and share the beauty of different perspectives while easing out the vexed emotion long buried there in me. The echoes of that last word resonated through her ears as she leaned on my shoulder with tears in her eyes, while painting the canvas of endless possibilities and legitimizing the fact that sometimes the most diminutive encounter can weave the deepest parts of the soul. Now it is hard to recollect when that you became we.